Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video tutorial. It has been some time. I've been very busy on the familial front. Okay, so without further ado, this would be the 11th board of the uh, one of the top 50 brevities that was selected from about 1956 to 2006 or 2007. This was one of the brevities that was selected in an article or series of articles that ran in Qi, which was published around 2007 or 2008, I can't remember. Today, red would be Master Zhu Yongkang, uh, Master Zhu Yongkang, and black would be Master Sun Zhiwei from Heilongjiang. Master Zhu Yongkang was from Shanghai. Master Zhu Yongkang has been introduced in an earlier video, so I will introduce only Master Sun Zhiwei. He was a Chinese Xiangqi master from Heilongjiang province, and he was the first runner-up in an invitational tournament that was held in 1981. And his best placing in the Chinese National Xiangqi Individuals Championship was 6th place. That was in 1985. Master Sun Zhiwei would later become one of the head coaches in the Heilongjiang team. And some of his more famous proteges include women's GM Guo Liping and also Wang Linna. Now, he has also written many books in cooperation with the late Zhongjian and also Haiting. This match was played in the 1977 Chinese National Individuals Championships, which was held in September the 14th of 1977. The venue was in Taiyuan, and the opening was 5-6 cannons with left edge horse versus black's green horse defense with 7-pawn advancement. So without further ado, let us see what how the match went. Master Zhu Yongkang started with the central cannon, and he played the edge horse variation very early on. Now, by playing h8 plus 9, black would be left to guess whether red would continue to push his cannon across the river, or play c8 equals to 7 for the 5-7 cannons, or c8 equals to 6 for the 5-6 cannons. And black would usually counter with p7 plus 1 to allow for development of his left horse and also prevent the red horse from being developed. And in this match, Master Zhu Yongkang chose to play the 5-6 cannons. Now, black chose to play the green horse defense. Now, the single horse defense with h2 plus 1 is not considered to be ideal. A commonly or possible variation is shown here. Now, at this point in time, after r equals to 3, black could usually counter with c7 equals to 6, e7 equals plus 5 to protect the black horse, or p7 plus 1 to trade horses. If h7 plus 6 were played, red would capture the central pawn and sacrifice his horse. Now this would be a headhunter cannon, which would be a very big threat, whereby black would have a hard time dealing with. Now, if black decided to protect his horse and consolidate the central file with e7 plus 5, a possible line would be capture the pawn, and by doing so, black would have lost 2 or 3 moves in developing the pawn, and red would have gained some initiative in terms of momentum. And as can be seen, red would have the significant advantage at this point in time. And the last variation that was introduced was p7 plus 1, capture, retreat, threaten, and the black pawn would also be eliminated, and red would now be prepared to capture the central pawn and also attack the elephant. So that is why playing the single horse defense would not be a good idea in this situation. And black chose to play the green horse defense. Now, red decided to develop his left chariot as a foul chariot in this match. This is okay, this is considered orthodox. Both chariots as foul chariots will be okay. Now, at this point in time, there are three ways for black to play this position. In the match, c2 plus 4 to form a blockade was played. Another way would be to play c2 plus 2, whereby black would be prepared to play h7 plus 8 to advance the horse to act as a cannon mount for this cannon to attack the red chariot. Now, this is also an orthodox variation, and to prevent this from happening, red would usually advance his chariot. And the horse would be developed on the 6th file instead, whereby black would now threaten to push the pawn forward to threaten the red chariot again. Now this would lead to a complicated situation. Red would usually fortify his central file, and at this point in time, black would be able to hold his own against red's aggression. Now if r2 equals to 4 played, black would simply play p3 plus 1, where the cannon will be protecting the horse, and black's cannon and chariot on this file would be freed for attack, and relatively speaking, red's right flank would be rather empty and vulnerable. Another way to play this position would be to play c8 plus 4, whereby black would form a blockade but using the other chariot and cannon on the 8th file. A possible line, quite a long one, was given in the magazine. So all these moves are considered to be orthodox. So you can see black will be attacking aggressively, but after trading so much material, red would enjoy an advantage of 2 pawns. However, by this time, the situation on the board would become drawish because red would only have 1 chariot and 1 horse left, while black would only have a cannon and chariot combination. And both colors would have a full guard for defense, and it would usually be a drawish situation which black can be satisfied with. So c8 plus 4 is now not so commonly seen. Back to the match. In the match, Master Sun Zhiwei decided to play c2 plus 4 to form a blockade on red's left flank. And usually when a blockade is formed, red would usually push the other chariot across the river to prevent black from playing c8 plus 4. If this were done, the space that red would have would be greatly compressed, and black would have a lot of space to do what he wants. In the match, after r2 plus 4, red deliberately advanced his horse h7 plus 6, even enticing the chariot to play r2 equals to 4. But the main motive for playing r2 plus 4 was to allow for red to play p9 plus 1. Now, the idea behind this move would be that red would play h9 plus 8 so that the black cannon would not be protected by the black chariot anymore, and it would be dislodged. So the threat of the black cannon would now be really diminished. So this was the line of thought behind red's r2 plus 4. Now in the match, Master Sun Zhiwei did not play h6 plus 5 immediately because one might think that if he tried to trade his horse immediately, it would be things were not as simple as they seem. Instead, the master chose to sacrifice a pawn. Now the black horse will be threatening the red chariot, and the only way for red to play or to counter this threat would be to play r2 equals to 3 to accept the pawn sacrifice. Now after this play was made, black did not rush things and chose to play e7 plus 5. And at this point in time, red continued with his plans of playing h9 plus 8. But there was already a change in the situation on the board. Because there was no pawn here, black would now threaten to play h6 plus 5, threatening to capture the red chariot. Now if red chose to trade the horses, the cannon would capture and there will be a check, and red would not have freed himself of this pin by the black chariot. So in the match, and if this would have to happen, the black cannon would now be able to gain an open line for attack. So that was why red decided not to trade horses and play r3 equals to 2 instead. But because r3 equals to 2 were played, Master Sun Zhiwei retreated his horse again to attack the red chariot. And red was forced to play r2 equals to 4. Now it was at this time that black decisively decided to sacrifice his horse and play r2 equals to 7. Now when this move was played, we can see that on red's right flank, black would have 2 cannons and 1 chariot and preparing to attack the elephant. The black chariot here would also have formed the pin on the red horse, which cannot advance or the chariot will be lost. So although black would sacrifice a horse, he would not be able to gain an attack. Now in the match, this was one of the turning points in the match. In the match, h3 plus 5 was played because red did not dare to lose his elephant. If red accepted the sacrifice, a possible line was given. Black would be compensated with an elephant, check, and the cannon would immediately be advanced. Black cannot afford to play c3 equals to 1, or red would immediately play r4 equals to 2, and the pin on the black cannon and chariot would not allow black to attack anymore. So that was why c8 plus 6 was played instead. Black would try to defend, and red would prepare to traverse this chariot to this flank for further attack. So there will now be 4 pieces attacking red's right flank, which is only defended by only 1 horse and maybe at the most the chariot. So if red decided to trade chariots with r4 equals to 2, the chariot that moved would be prepared to play r2 equals to 8. So after the exchange of chariots, black would still be attacking with 2 cannons and 1 chariot, and this would be more than what red can handle. So that was why red did not dare to capture the black horse and instead chose to move the horse away, trying to gain some traction in counterattacking. But black was so intent on sacrificing the horse, so black continued with c8 equals to 7. So again, the elephant was under attack. Now in the match, finally, because the horse was now out of the way, Master Zhu Yongkang decided to accept the horse sacrifice. Now what would happen if e3 plus 1 were played? If this were played, black would play r2 plus 8 to block the elephant, so that black would still be able to attack with by moving the front cannon plus c plus 3. So if this were the case, if red continued to accept the sacrifice, check, and red would advance the cannon across the river again to prepare for an attack. That could be done with c plus equals to what? Equals to 9. Sorry, plus c equals to 9 for the double cannons checkmate. Now, if red did not capture the black horse and chose to defend with c5 equals to 3. A possible line would be and at this point in time we can see that red's major pieces, the horse, the chariot, horse and cannon would not have even crossed the river, and this horse was now pressured by the black cannon, and which would be prepared to attack in many different the different styles. The horse can also play h6 plus 8, and black would have many options available to continue his attack. So black would enjoy quite a significant advantage at this point in time. So that was why red accepted the sacrifice, but it was too late. Black, after swallowing the black horse, it was black's turn to perform. Check. And traversing the cannon to the to the edge file, the ninth file for black, would now prepare or threaten to checkmate with c7 plus 3. Now this would be a double cannon's checkmate and would force the red king to move out. And after k5 equals to 4, red did not rush his moves and chose to play r2 plus 1. Now this move was played because red was prepared to play r4 equals to 2 to trade chariots. The horse would now be protecting the chariot, the red chariot, if r4 equals to 2 were played. So if one of these chariots were traded away, red would buy some precious time and be able to reorganize his defense, which could prevent black from achieving a checkmate. So because red would now have the advantage of one house at this point in time, that was why black played r2 plus 1, so that he could double his efforts on this file for attack. Now red decided to throw everything, even the singer, off the window to try to counter-attack, and his counter-attack started with sacrificing the horse to capture the elephant. Now, by doing so, black must capture the red horse, or else red would checkmate with a double check with h5 plus 3 or h5 plus 7, whereby the horse will be delivering a check while the cannon would also deliver a check. So this will be a checkmate if allowed to happen, and this was forced black to capture the red horse. So the material deficit that that black was suffering from was now erased. And another last-ditch attempt by red was to sacrifice his chariot with h8 plus 6. Now, Master Sun Zhiwei cleverly chose to play r2 equals to 8, refusing to accept the sacrifice, because if he did, red would win the game with the following moves. Now this set of moves were not found in original commentary. I used the computer program that I have to generate the kill for all to see. Again, the red horse would capture the last elephant and be prepared to threaten to checkmate with h5 plus 3 or h5 plus 7. Like, try as he might, black would not be able to achieve a checkmate with these three pieces, a continuous check leading to a checkmate with these three pieces. So black would be forced to sacrifice material, and it would be a checkmate. So that was why, no matter how enticing it would seem, black could not capture the red chariot, and he decided to play r2 equals to 8 to fortify his attack, or to strengthen his attack on red's right flank. Now, red had to try to defend by moving his king to the third rank, so that if red delivered a check, he could advance his king here, where there would be two cannons that would help to protect or defend this rank. However, after red offered his chariot, it was a tense situation, but black was simply faster. And at this point in time, uh, after the check, red resigned. So the following moves were generated by my computer program, and it would show how black would win with would deliver the final blow. So black would start by sacrificing his cannon, and this would threaten to checkmate with c9 minus 2, forcing the red cannon to capture it. A check, counter, cross check. And the red would try to move his king to safety. Check, and basically once black had achieved this formation, there would be no running away. So try as red might. Check again. Black would checkmate. So I hope you have enjoyed this very short brevity. A quick recap. Central cannon, edge horse variation leading to the 5-6 cannons, and black decided to play the screen horse defense. Foul chariot, foul chariot, foul chariot. So both colors developed their chariots as foul chariots, forming a blockade with black's right cannon, and a brilliant sacrifice from black. This was a uh, diversionary sacrifice to allow for black to continue with h6 plus 5 later on. Red tried to pin the black cannon again, and black decided to sacrifice his horse. And at this point in time, the target of attack was this elephant, which red tried to counter aggressively with h3 plus 5, but it was too late. Black was adamant on sacrificing his horse. H5 plus 4, check. And another brilliant move, R2 plus 1, to prevent red from trading chariots, and also adding much more pressure to red's right flank. Last ditch attempt by red. Another last ditch, even a chariot sacrifice by red, which black ignored. And after the check, red resigned because the kill will now be in place. So I hope you have enjoyed today's video, and please subscribe to my channel. I have stopped publishing daily bots and will want to focus more of my attention on doing videos like this. Thank you for your support, and if you like my channel and the work I do, do subscribe to my channel and give me a like. Thank you.